What's up, guys? This is Saint Kyjor Collective. I'm Saint,
I'm Kyjor.
and we are here to bring you our own selection of top 10 Zelda songs. And want to make this kind of conversational, a little bit of banter and debate between us. Kind of my own background. I've played through Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Link to the Past, Wind Waker, Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess, most of the console games, and Breath of the Wild. Big fans of the series, and so we're going to be kind of picking songs from our own selection. How, Kyjor, how did you go about kind of picking your top 10?
So the way I went about it, I'm I think it was just a huge nostalgia factor. Um, I didn't start listening to like video game soundtracks till I was in college. And once I started doing that, I found this Pandora station and I started doing that. It was amazing. So I would listen to Zelda music, and the music that I would connect with the most is songs from Ocarina of Time, and that's the game that I played the most during my childhood. And that's just I'm just a big fan of that game, and so I went with what made me personally feel the best, what brought up the best memories. What about you?
To an extent, some of that, yeah. I think what's brilliant about the Zelda series is its ability to connect music to specific moments in the story. I'm going to say my top 10 does not include any songs from Breath of the Wild, just because I felt, as far as story wise, like great game, but as far as story wise, you don't necessarily make the connections between the songs and those particular moments. So I would say my favorite Zelda game is Twilight Princess, but you'll get to see how many songs from that I specifically represent from this. So, what's your number 10?
All right. So I guess I gotta go first. So my number 10, I am going to put the Dragon Roost song from Wind Waker. I had to get that on there. That's a good song. Um, Going through, so when I was making this list, I made it like right before we started recording, but I already had a lot of these songs in my mind, and there's like one I'm like, oh, what about this one? What about this one? What about this one? Um, but Dragon Roost, was it Isle? Dragon Roost Isle?
Dragon Style, yeah.
Okay, Dragon Roost Isle is going to go at my number 10 spot just because I had to include one song from Wind Waker. I think Wind Waker is a good game, but Wind Waker is not necessarily. I don't necessarily think of a lot of music when I think of Wind Waker. Personally, Wind Waker wasn't one of my games I played a ton of growing up, so that explains basically why. So
Gotcha. Yeah, I'd say like, yeah, for me, yeah, Wind Waker was my first Zelda game, so
really,
different experience there. Okay, my number 10 is this is from Majora's Mask. I went with the Song of Healing. Just because, and again, most of these I make some sort of connection with the overall theme of the game or like that particular moment, and I just feel that Song of Healing captures this the somber atmosphere of that Majora's Mask is trying to communicate. So that's what I am putting at number 10.
yeah, I'm a big fan of the change of pace of Majora's Mask and how it's just like kind of a darker game, which is why I'm excited for the sequel to Breath of the Wild because like based on the previews, it looks like it's going to be a dark game, and when I think of a dark game, I think there's going to be a really good soundtrack. I per like I can bet that they're still not gonna go as in your face as most soundtracks uh, of the series were, because Breath of the Wild, like we talked about earlier, Breath of the Wild is like kind of like
It's
late.
background.
Yeah, it's
It's
background.
yeah.
It's truly background. Like Breath of the Wild, the music isn't a huge focal point, but it's still big because I honestly think Breath of the Wild would be annoying if I was playing that game for 200 hours, right? I was playing that game
Hmm.
for 200 hours, walking around hearing just loud music, like just the loud music, because it's a huge experience, and sometimes the quietness and the way that things are just so natural in that game just like lets you focus on what's around you, you know, like
Hmm.
in the music when the music does become a little bit more of the focal point in the game, it's like Great Fairy Fountain. The music starts it becomes more noticeable, more focal. Kakariko Village. When you go into Village or stuff like that, yeah, I understand it. But like when I'm just running around the vast, expansive world, it is nice to have like some like very calm music to because I'm not worried about the music as much as I'm worried about like
And even even it has moments where there's absolutely no music playing, kind of giving you this like you're it's quiet and you're listening, you're trying to focus on what's around you.
exactly.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, number 9.
All
What you
right,
got?
number 9. So for number 9, I am going to put. This is a tough one. Um, I'm
You're on number 9. It's already tough.
yeah yeah. Well, I know my top. Right, I know my number 1. I know my number 2. And I kind of know my number 3. But this is actually it's tougher for me to rank these like bottom of this top 10 list. Um,
Hmm.
but I would say Kakariko Village is going to be my number 9. And specifically the one from Ocarina of Time. Um, I know we don't we so the thing I talked about was we don't necessarily need to specify which game it's from, but obviously like for the most
There's
part,
different variations
yes,
of
all of
the
them are different.
same. Right.
So yeah,
Um.
I'm going with Kakariko Village. I do like all the Kakariko Village songs, even the Breath of the Wild one, which people were saying like it has nothing to do with the Kakariko Village
Hmm.
theme. But I actually watched a video yesterday, and there is an Easter egg from the original song in the song from the game. I'm not a big I don't study music or anything, but it was like some kind of I can't remember what it was called in the song that was the Easter egg to Kakariko Village, like all the other songs. Um, but it's on YouTube. I think I can't remember who made it, but it was a pretty good video. It was interesting. It's only like a 4 minute watch, but I'd check that out too if you had time.
My number 9 song is gonna be Temple of Time from Ocarina of Time, just because. And again, this is one of those songs where you know, Temple of Time is again fairly a consistent theme throughout the Zelda series, and Temple of Time, specifically the one from Ocarina of Time, just has like this um, has these very low kind of choral backgrounds going on, and it almost gives the impression, which I think what they're going for is like a holy place.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're in the Vatican and you hear stuff, it's like something that's sacred, and I feel that Temple of Time um, kind of really captures that feeling.
Yeah, that's that. It's a good song. Like that's something that I didn't even think about. So it just didn't even register with me to even put that on my list. But that is a good song. Yeah.
Right.
So number 8 for me, I'm going to have to go with a song called "Final Hours" from Majora's Mask. That is an amazing song. Like I love the like you said about the Majora's Mask, the somberness of it. Um, this is right before I believe It's been a while since I played Majora's Mask, but it's right before the final hours when the moon is about to hit the Earth, or the Earth. Am I correct? Right?
Whatever, the land of Termina.
Yeah, the land of Termina, whatever you want to call it. And it's just a good like, just kind of like mood setter for like the end of the world that you reset with a song. But like it's really good. It's just it's not as catchy as other songs, but it's different. Like sometimes it's nice to hear something different. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Like, especially with the bells tolling, it's like this hour. The hour of doom has come.
Right.
This is, I don't know. I definitely feel like I could have put this one higher, but I'm going with the Gerudo Desert theme from Twilight Princess, not to be confused with Gerudo Valley. They are very different songs. So Gerudo Desert in Twilight Princess, like right before you're going to Arbiter Grounds, it just has this fantastic like classical guitar track, and then these again, like Twilight Princess is a darker game, and they're using like a lot of these operas in the kind of these opera themes in the background to make it a bit more epic. But yeah, I felt like, especially that point in the game, like Gerudo Desert was pivotal. Arbiter Grounds, phenomenal dungeon, and just like big reveal as like the identity of Midna and stuff. So
yeah, no, I honestly, when you say that, I don't think I can picture that song in my mind, because for some reason when you said that I was like, oh, does he mean Gerudo Valley? And then you said that and I was like, oh wait, I need to listen to this song, so I'll have to definitely
check
give that
out
song a listen.
No, Goda. You could take a listen, because I put all the links if you want to go to better list.
Yeah,
you can see all of this.
I'll take a listen after this.
Because every time, like when you're talking about stuff, I'm just like listening to the song as.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, just like, especially if it's not something I'm as familiar with, like Final Hours. I never beat Majora's Mask, so. Seven.
All right, so number 7. So for number 7, I am actually, I think I'm going to do, because I'm looking at my list right now and I'm like, I still haven't placed these ones, and I think I gotta go with another. Oh shoot! Did I mess something up? 1, 2, 3. I think I messed something up here. 1, 2, 3.
Can't read, can't write, can't count.
No, I cannot read at all. Oh, okay, I did mess something up. I accidentally took one that I was thinking of off while you were talking. So, okay, here we go. So for my number 7, I am going to have to say Termina Field. So I'm gonna have to go with another Majora's Mask one, just because I don't want to put this one too high, because you'll see why. So I don't want to put this one too high, but it is. I mean, 7's pretty high. But I like Termina Field because it's like, I think I like the Majora's Mask music in general because it's different, because it's not like the old upbeat tempo of some of the music. Termina Field starts out like Hyrule Field. It goes like dun, dun, and then it goes down to like,
it kind of has like
dark,
like morning. Oh, it's morning, like bright, happy.
Oh wait, everybody's dead. We're all about to die. It's over. No, but seriously, that's what I love about that song. Um, it just like it starts off good. It starts off like Hyrule Field, and then it goes down, and it's just like dark, and it's just like it's like you're trekking. Like it's almost like a trekking theme song. I don't know, and it just makes you
Hmm.
feel like adventurous too. But it's so good. Like the the music from Ocarina of Time, and then you go right to Majora's Mask, which came out what 2 3 years after that. They had a really fast development cycle on that. The music's like so much different. They reused a lot of stuff, assets, whatever, but the fact that they made it good, like the term with developers when like they take assets and reuse them on a game. That's generally they'll buy assets and then reuse them on a game. It's called an asset flip. So you take it and then flip it. But like Nintendo has like the greatest asset flip of all time if you consider Majora's Mask that, which
Oh
Majora's
right, yeah,
Mask is a
yeah.
great game. Um, anyways, but yeah, that's my number seven. Termina
Yeah, and
Field.
kind of one more comment on that. Like, um, listening through it, it gets like right after that intro, it kind of gets to this like rapid drum beat, which I think goes along with the theme of you're running out of time.
Right.
Which yeah is it works well for that game. Okay, my number seven. I'm going with Molduga's theme from specifically from Wind Waker. Um, so again, that's like the Wind Temple boss fight battle music, and it's almost like yeah, it almost has like this joyful sound with kind of like the high whatever whistle that they use with it, but it also kind of keeps up like this constant um, beat as you're being like hunted by this subterranean creature. But,
Um, I'm honestly not familiar with that song, and also I was gonna play the songs, but I don't want it to play over you when you're talking since I'm
right,
recording.
right, right. Yeah.
But I'll definitely listen to it after. Um, so what was
Again,
that?
just you just go to my list and like
Yeah, I got
take
it.
a listen. So as because again, I'm just like as you're talking about stuff, I kind of can hear it in my head and understand it. So
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now for my that was your number seven, right?
yeah, we're on
Oh,
six now.
yep. Okay, so for my number six, this song, I'm gonna have to. I already okay. This is gonna be tough. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be tough. Okay, that's not going on. And
You need me to go? You need me to go
okay,
next?
I got it. I got
You got it?
it.
Okay.
I got it because I gotta. Okay, got it. So my next song is Hyrule Castle from Link to the Past. All right. So when I was growing up, um, the first game system I remember playing was the Super Nintendo, but I did play the Nintendo because we had that too. But the game system I played the most with Otis, my brother, um, was the Super Nintendo. But we also had a Nintendo, and I played the original Zelda as well. But the first Zelda I remember playing a lot of was Link to the Past, and the like I don't remember a ton about it because I honestly haven't revisited it. But when I started listening to game music, I started listening to the old tracks, and the song from Hyrule Castle from that game is just amazing. Like I'm a big so for people if you're watching this, I work on my own games. I make my own games, and I like pixel art. I like old fashioned games. I like retro games. I like new games too. I do love new games. Um, but something about like
Like the
me,
24-bit, the tracks where it's just um, or I'm just thinking of like the classic Mario where it's like da 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 da,
yeah, those
like the old school one.
the chip tunes basically.
Right, right.
So
Where it's almost like the music is pixelated
no,
as
seriously, it is.
well.
It's
Yeah.
like it's digital. So This is going to be a ton of paraphrasing, and I'm not fact checking at all. But I watched this video, and one of the greatest, like two of the greatest composers, um, from Nintendo are Koji Kondo. He's like on pretty much any game you can think of, like any first party Nintendo game you can think of. He's made composed almost all these songs we're talking about. I bet all these songs we're talking about. And then there's a guy who created. I'm gonna look him up real quick because I don't want to. I feel like I'm disrespecting him, but he was the Donkey Kong Country composer. I want to say his name's like David or something like that. Yeah, David Wise. Okay. Yeah, David Wise. I watched this video on David Wise. And the way he composed the music for Donkey Kong Country on the Super Nintendo, I think that was the first year. So the Super Nintendo, you basically had to program as a composer. You had to learn how to program that stuff into the game. You had to program the music. Like, you had to figure out, like, you basically had to type almost machine code, almost ones and zeros, like, basically. This is not quite exactly how it is, but they showed examples of it, and it's like nuts what these guys could do with the limitations they had. The music, like, that even makes you appreciate the music even more, which is what I was getting to. This song, Hyrule Castle, is amazing. Like, the theme is just like I just feel it in my chest. Like, it's like, yes, let's go. I know that was a big explanation for why I like this song,
Right.
but this song was amazing, and the theme, the dark theme of it, it's just beautiful.
I mean, even like, big segue, but yeah, kind of like continually segueing is like, as far as like education in music, for example, you're like, people, they say like, oh, these are the classics or whatever, but there's like, throughout all my gaming and like appreciating soundtracks and like, or like game soundtracks and movie soundtracks, I think it's incredible like what these composers are able to do and like get the feelings. Like, these are modern classics in some senses. I won't do any comment on Hyrule Castle theme because I'll talk about it when it appears on my list. So for me, up next, number 6 is going to be Saria's song, or also the Lost Woods theme. So this is kind of like the and I think, yeah, this works well. I think, like, especially in Ocarina of Time, as you're kind of leaving, it's an interesting moment. So, like, because you're living with all these fairy people, they live in this eternal youth, and so I think it kind of captures this childlike wonder at the beginning of the game, and it, like, even that is a significant moment. There's the cutscene where you're like crossing the bridge to leave the forest, and your friend Saria like says goodbye to you, and it's just like kind of a stark contrast between her theme and like the adventure that is awaiting. But I also like how they, so again, Zelda borrows from itself. I really like how they use this in the Sacred Grove in Twilight Princess as well. So this is the grove where you find the Master Sword, and there's the one Skull Kid like creature that's I forget. But yeah, good song.
See, I did not So like I did not play a ton of Twilight Princess, so that's why I don't really get too many references from that. That's definitely on my my card, but I got a lot of stuff I'm doing right now, so I haven't been playing too many video games. Um, but yeah, sorry, a song is pretty good. That was something that I was thinking about putting on my list, but I couldn't do it. Couldn't pull the trigger, man. All right, so my number 5 is um, Astral Observatory from Majora's Mask, and this is a song that I discovered from when I started listening to Zelda music a few years ago.
Throwing all these Majora's Mask things at me.
I am throwing a lot of Majora's Mask at you, and Majora's Mask wasn't even one of my favorite, or wasn't one of my favorite Zeldas when I was making this list. So like when I was talking to you, I was like, "Yeah, you're gonna figure it out," and I was like, "Wait, I have a lot of songs from Majora's Mask on here. It's gonna confuse them." So Majora's Mask isn't actually
thoroughly consider me confused.
Yeah, but I love the music. Like there's a YouTube playlist I used to listen to. It has like 500 Zelda songs on it, like soundtrack songs.
I'm seeing one that is 255 minutes Zelda music to relax, study, work / game.
I think it's called like the Ultimate Zelda playlist or something like that. But what am I trying to say? Shoot. Okay. All right. So, yeah, but Astral Observatory is just like I said, it's like one of those dark songs. Is different, but it's just like calming for me. Like I will listen to that when I study, and I could have it like I think there's like a YouTube video that has like 10 hours or something of it, but it's just like
you just did like 10 hours of Astral Observatory.
I didn't listen to the 10 hours, but I've listened to it for like an hour, like and just like studied or something like that, and it's just really good.
Yeah, I can see like it has less of an impact on me just because I was like probably playing Majora's Mask in the Astral Observatory, and I'm just like, get me out of here. What do I do next? For my number 5, this is certainly a well-known classic. Song of Storms.
Good song.
So, Song of Storms, you first, whatever in the windmill in Ocarina of Time, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And I'm trying to think like
the dude's like, dun, 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 and he has the little like speaker.
He's got like an accordion too. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe one of them he has a speaker, one of them he has an accordion. I think. Like he's in Majora's Mask too.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like where else that song recurs, because I feel like it's got to be like in some of the other games, and I can't even describe like why it's good. It just is.
Dude, it's catchy. Like it's a good song. Like I didn't put it on my list, but it's definitely up there for me. What was that, number 5 for you?
We're on we're on 4 now.
Number 4. Okay. So my number 4. This is actually gonna be pretty simple for me. So I'm going to put. Actually, no. No, I got it. So I'm gonna put Hyrule Field here, from Ocarina of Time. So Hyrule Field, I've probably heard that song more than any other song in the Zelda series, because I used to play the crap out of Ocarina of Time when I was a kid, even before I could read. So I couldn't get past the
when the owl is asking you if you want to listen to the instructions.
I just
again,
use
Yeah.
And then I
And
would
then you're
accidentally
like,
press yes.
why can't I ever leave? Why is he still talking to me?
I
And he's
couldn't
like, do you want to hear that again?
I couldn't get out of
Yeah.
Dodongo's cavern because I didn't know to use the Din's fire on the eye. I couldn't read the I couldn't understand the hint. And then once I could read, I was like, yes, yes, I understand this. Like,
Yeah,
it's easy.
my experience with Ocarina of Time though is I played it in college, so
Oh,
very different like initial impressions. However, my overall impression is like, holy crap, this game's from like what 1998,
yeah,
right?
yeah. It's
And
90.
it still holds up. Like it was crazy.
Right. So did you? All right. So you're on number 4 now.
Yeah.
All right, number 4.
Wait, which one did you say? You said Hyrule Field for number 4.
Yes.
Okay. I am going. Only one song from Skyward Sword appearing on this list for me, but I'm going with Ballad of the Goddess. Just because I think like what Skyward Sword tried to do is like create this link between all this link between all the Zelda games with kind of like the OG story of like what the Skyward Sword, how it eventually became the Master Sword. And Ballad of the Goddess just has like this epic feel of it. Like we're in the skies, and like this origin of this grand game series with what it's trying to accomplish, which I think it did a fantastic job with.
Yeah, it is a good song. I didn't even think about that. Also, Skyward Sword for me. I think it's one of the most slept on Zeldas. Like,
I certainly slept on it.
I actually beat Skyward Sword in high school, and I was just like, this game's amazing. Like, this game is so fun. And then I like looked online, and everybody's like, this is garbage. I hate the art style. The story sucks. The controls suck.
Wait. The art style is great. No complaints about the art style.
People hated the art style. They didn't like the mashup, because it's a mashup between like they
took Twilight Princess and like Wind Waker graphics.
Boom. Yeah, I actually liked it.
Beautiful. Oh, I think it's great.
Yeah.
Zelda has like her like a very good character design in that game too. Like it's like a very if Skyward or if Twilight Princess was like the dark edgy of all the characters, and like Skyward Sword's got this nice cheery like she's coming on to you right from the beginning of the game, and it's just like, wow, Link, you and I are alone at the top of this tower here. Anything could happen.
You are very inappropriate.
Listen, those are the vibes that the game was giving you.
That's fair.
They create a lot of tension in that beginning ceremony. Let's see. Number 3. I put Dragon Roost Island here.
You put Dragon Roost Island. Oh,
just because it's a bop.
It is a bop. It's a bop.
They have these incredible like I think the instrument is like a castanet or something. It's like the wooden things that they like clip together. It's like I don't know. And in Wind Waker, Dragon Roost Island was like just a really welcoming place. Like you get out of the Forsaken Fortress and you get to Dragon Roost Island, and you're like immediately making friends with the Rito and like Medley and um I would say like Dragon Roost Island is like in some senses like almost like a second home in terms of like the interactions that Link makes with the characters at Dragon Roost, like even Prince Komali, where you're essentially like his godfather by the end of the game. So yeah,
Yeah,
it
no.
was always, that theme was always like welcoming, um, and I think like you feel that with Dragon Roost.
Yeah, it's a good song. I wouldn't put it 3, but yeah, it's good. All right. So my number 3, um, this okay. I my number 3. This is tough. This actually is tough. I thought I had it, and then I'm kind of changing my mind a little bit. But this okay. This number 3 is with love. Okay. This number 3 is with love. This number 3 could be a number 1, could be a number 2, but it's a number 3 because I've outgrown this. I've outgrown this song. Not really, but I found other songs that make me feel better. Anyways, but Gerudo Valley is my number 3. It is. I remember this song vividly from my childhood. I was like, dang, this is probably one of the first songs I was like, wow, this, like, I actually recognize the soundtrack of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started listening to video game music, I would listen to this was the first song that like I don't want to say got me into it, but it's like what like was like, oh, let me listen to other songs. Oh, I remember like Ocarina of Time. I remember this game. Like I played it, a few years. Like I had just beat it my freshman year of high school. But I mean I played it all through my childhood. And so this song is just like it's upbeat. It's like different. It's just like, and it's just like it's good. It's good. It's good. And I feel bad that like I'm not gonna put it as my number 1, but it's just not doing it anymore.
Yeah, Gerudo Valley is a good song, and I think like, yeah, maybe like some of its like nostalgia factor that I recognize it as a good song, but it doesn't like hold as much impact on me just because I've only played through Ocarina of Time once and got very specific impressions, especially since that was like not a song that I really heard in other Zelda games, if that makes sense. Like we've talked about how a lot of these songs have recurring versions of them, and I would say like I mentioned Gerudo Desert in previously, but that is a very it probably like fits the same similar feels in a sense, but is like a darker version of that.
Right. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
But in a sense, like you wouldn't even necessarily like recognize it as like the same thing.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, you'd see them as two separate songs.
Right. I think the only time it really is a recurring song, as far as I know, is like Smash Bros. Like they remixed it.
Excellent. Okay, number 2, I am going with Midna's Lament.
That's a good song. Yes.
So, again, going back to Twilight Princess, like I'm wearing a shirt sporting my favorite Zelda game, and Midna's Lament. So you hear this song right after you beat the Water Temple, which is the third temple in it, and Zant comes and he messes you up, and it kind of goes to this like this all is lost kind of feeling, like it's a lament, like a I don't know, like the dictionary definition of lament, like
regret.
sorrowful, like it's a sorrowful like call out or something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's you as a wolf, you get cursed as a wolf, and you have to go up to Hyrule Castle to um, be restored.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like they do this a lot with like trilogies, all right? Because as far as like following a solid movie trilogy, typically like the darkest point of the series is after the second movie or book. So like
Mm-hmm.
um, in Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, when it's Darth Vader says, "Luke, I'm your father." They're escaping by the skin of their teeth. Han Solo's turned into carbonite. Luke lost his hand. Like, could things get any worse? And it kind of has that like all is lost kind of um, feeling to it, and it's interesting that it's called Midna's Lament
Mm-hmm.
because in I would say like almost no other Zelda game is the secondary character as pivotal to the story as to what Midna is in Twilight Princess. And so that's what I think makes it unique and makes her like um, just such an excellent character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for my number two, I have I have Fairy's Fountain. Okay. So I could do any of them. I love every version. There's actually a YouTube. I think the YouTube video I linked was all versions. Um, but Fairy's Fountain is just an amazing song. Like I love it. Something about that tune. It's just like relaxing. It's iconic. Like it's one of those Zelda songs that recurs in so many games. It's just it's amazing. It makes you feel good. It makes me feel good. The I think the first version was the Super Nintendo, the Link to the Past, maybe. I think that was the first version, but it was the selection screen or something like that. So it wasn't actually like called that in the game. Like that's what like. It's been a
Mhm.
long time since I played that game, but I'm pretty sure it might have reoccurred in the game. But it's just like it's a good song. But if I had to pick one, this is my only Breath of the Wild song. I would pick the Breath of the Wild song because it is good. Like go to the it's the at the end of that video. Go to the end of that video and listen to the Breath of the Wild version, and it's good. Like, and there is a nostalgia factor. They remixed it, but it's pretty true. Like if I knew the terms for music, like I don't know the terms for music, but it stays pretty true to like the rhythm, whatever the melody. I guess I don't know. It's a good song, and it's something that I can't like I remember that song. Like I can hum that song. There's quite a few Zelda songs that I can hum. One actually is Hyrule Field. Going back to that is Hyrule Field. I can hum that from almost beginning to end because I heard it so many times. But yeah, so that
What
is
do the fairies say? Like put your burdens aside, hero. I don't know. I feel they say something, or like even in Wind Waker, I know they specifically say something like rest here. Kyjor, rest here. Like you're in good hands. um,
like a good neighbor.
shoot. Okay, are we
Worry about no,
are
we're
we
number one.
are we running through honorable mentions? Like, I just want to do. I'll just do
Yeah.
it. I'll just do a quick run through. So, honorable mentions. I put Ganon's theme, specifically from Wind Waker, as you're climbing Ganon's tower. It's like and this was originally done in Ocarina of Time, where it's like da da da, and then it the music gets louder as you climb the tower. Guardian theme from Breath of the Wild. just because of I love the dissonance. That is actually the song that I would listen to extended to study for, just like. Wind Waker opening theme, like title theme, Dark World from Link to the Past, and
Dark
then
World. That's a good song.
It's so good. And Deku Nuts Palace from Majora's Mask it's a sleeper. Like you should. It's a sleeper. Just like those Deku Nuts will put you to sleep. But my number one is going to be Hyrule Castle theme from A Link to the Past.
Oh no.
And yeah, what can I say about this song? I feel like this is just it's used so incredibly well throughout the Zelda series. Like for all the reasons that you said, like in that specific, I've never actually played Link to the Past, but you can see the effects of it even in Wind Waker when you return to Hyrule Castle, which is like, kind of a crazy moment because it's like the Great Sea, and there's like a toned down version of like the Hyrule theme, like a forgotten version. I also love they use it pretty well in Zelda Four Swords when you have to fight 4 giant Stalfos that end up being like the ghosts of these like Hyrule Castle knights. Mm-hmm. And they use a subtle version of that in the background. But and it's funny because that's a song that we've talked about the most throughout this video. Like even when you had it at number 6, like it took like we still talked about it the most. But yeah, it's incredible.
It is. It's a good song.
And for the impact that it had on its recurrence in this series, I think is also like important to note as well.
Yeah, it's a good song. I'm sorry I disrespected you by putting it at 6, but at least it made my list. You know what I mean?
True.
So I only have a couple honorable mentions, but I actually am going to add one. And
it's Dark World.
Oh, that actually, I'll take that as an honorable mention. But Staff Roll, so like the end credits of Ocarina of Time, it's just a good medley. Yeah, it's a good medley, and it's just a bunch of stuff thrown together, but really good. Just makes you feel good, and it's like an extended, like I think it's like 7 minutes or something like that. So another one I'm doing is this is a very
is that like where they're playing this and then do they have like almost it's like an epilogue, isn't it?
Yeah, it's at the end of Ocarina of Time.
It has like these clips of all the different characters, right?
Yes, and it pans over them, all that, like different areas in the game. Really good. Like it's just like it's an epilogue. It like encapsulates the game. Like it's a beautiful like set of songs, whatever. And then the next one, just the title theme to Zelda. Like any of them, the title theme, it's iconic, it's great, but it's shorter. I mean, I'm sure there's extended versions, but it's good, it's iconic. I like it. For me, it's got to be on my list, but it definitely didn't make top 10 just because you only have 10. And then I wanted to add the Song of Storms. That is a good song. To my honorable mentions. And last but not least, number 1 for me is, drum roll please, and then I'm gonna throw a drum roll in here. Zora's Domain. All right, from Ocarina of Time. Zora's Domain is the greatest song of all time. It is amazing. There is a 10-hour version on YouTube, and I have played it when I've slept and listened to it all 10 hours. I've done it. I've listened to that song for so long. Like, it is an amazing song. It is just like, it's the perfect study song. Feels like, makes you feel like you're on a beach, relaxing, sipping a nice little drink. Good song. Like, it's just, I love it. Like, I love that song. It's just great.
I
Um,
definitely think, yeah, we have different experiences of like these songs because obviously you've talked about like how you would even just like listen to these songs while you're like sleeping or studying or whatever. And I mean, I've definitely like gone through and listened to some of the tracks by themselves, but I'm a lot of this I'm going off of like my own memory and like its recurrence within different Zelda games, or
mhm.
like again, I said this at the beginning, like its impact on that specific game, or like how it kind of brought together all the feelings that um, the game wanted to
Right.
convey.
Yeah. No, yeah, overall, I think this is a pretty solid list. I think you have a solid, respectable list. I may not agree with it, but it's pretty good list. Like I definitely enjoy doing this, talking about this. But yeah, that's my top 10. And Zora's Domain is the greatest song of all time, and Koji Kondo is the greatest composer of all time.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Tell us whose list you thought was was a better representation of the top 10, and include in the comments your own top 10s or your own top 10 list if you want. Um, any last closing remarks?
No, no, I'm ready to sign off. This was good, fun conversation, and yeah, I'm excited to hear your guys' lists in the comments. Thanks.
I'm Saint,
I'm Kyjor.
and this is Saint Kyjor Collective. Peace out.